Hi everybody, it's Linda with Joyful Makes and Finds. It has been a while since my last video, so Happy New Year. I hope that 2026 is a wonderful one for you. And I am excited to bring you my first video of the year. Took quite some time off over the holidays with my family. But I've got two Valentine journals that I want to share with you, and they are my little cutie style, which I haven't made for a little while, so I was very excited. They are nearly identical, but I'm going to go through both of them. They are currently listed in my Etsy shop, Joyful Makes and Finds, and there is a link to the listing for the journals in the description box below. So I decided I was inspired by this piece of very vintage fabric that I've had in my stash for a long time. I think it came from my sister, and I just really love it. It's a very vintage corduroy. And so I made this little topper with a felt heart, and I did a little slow stitching around it, sewed some really pretty vintage buttons that highlight the fabric. And there's a little beaded dangle here with lots of different hearts. And the signature ties are beaded as well. It is a one signature journal. It has somewhere around 64, 62 sides, something like that. And let's take a look in. It's got eyelet and seam binding closure. Okay. So in this front pocket here is a little button shaker card from me. These are some that I made last year, and I included in all of my journals. And then on the back, I wrote Handmade with Love by Linda, Joyful Makes and Finds, in the year. And it's got a little charm that says handmade with, or made with love. And that's just a little something from you to you from me. And I used some really pretty crocheted trim for the pockets. Okay. Then this first page here is, these are some vintage doilies kind of glued together. I created this little pocket tuck spot with here. And inside I placed two really cute copies of vintage Valentines. They can be used as journal cards or sent as Valentines. This is some scrapbook paper here, some coffee dyed paper, some really fun raised dotted Swiss vintage stationery. And then I used this doily to create a pocket. And in the pocket, I used this alteration card, alteration tag, and I did a little collage on it. And it just slips in here. This is some vintage, what's it called? Stenographer notebook, something like that. And this is a digital. I will credit in the description box, as is this. This is just a really fun kind of cellophane gift wrap piece that has kind of a lacy pattern on it. I just thought gave it a pretty little touch and a little bit of a crinkle. And then some little bit of a notebook, little piece of notebook pad there, and vintage Greg shorthand page. This is a page from a 1970s yearbook, early 70s. And I just added some vintage. This is flocked dotted Swiss fabric, very vintage. There is some graph paper, and I made a little pocket on this side, and it's another, in the pocket is another one of those really cute little vintage Valentine copies, little journal card. This is an over-the-page heart, and on this side it creates a tuck and up tuck. And I put this vintage tally card, scorecard in there. And I used this is a vintage postage stamp here and a paint chip, and I just created a little collage on this card, and there's a little removable paper clip. And then, as I said, this is over the page, so on this side I just created a little waterfall notebook with this pink lined paper, and I just added a little, we used to call these inchies. I used to participate in inchie swaps where we'd create little tiny 1-inch collages and such. And I just made this tiny little envelope and stuck this inchie in there to decorate the back side. And this whole piece will come off and you can use the little notepad, and it just will fit right over the top of the page. Just like that. So I just put this little paper clip in there to hold it. Okay, this is some avocado dyed paper. Some vintage banana fiber paper, which I love. This is a digital. This is the center of the signature. And I put some really pretty pink and red and heart shaped beads and pearls to match the Valentine theme. And then this is some scrapbook paper, and I made a large fold out and did some stenciling, some background stenciling there. And this can be used for a lot of journaling. This little pocket here has an ATC in it, which I made into a little journal card. The back side of the yearbook page, and I did a little collage there. This is the back side of the shorthand book. A little bit of heart trim there. This little pocket, I created a little side pocket here, and I put some journaling paper in there. It says focus on the good. And then this doily pocket on the back side has a Mary Englebright recipe card. This is the back side of that great dotted stationery. And then I did a little over the page with a vintage receipt here, and on this side I created this little tag. You can journal on that. And then on this side I created a little journal card with a collage there. Okay, and then this last page has a multi-fold. It has like 1, 2, 3, 4 different pockets, and I have it filled with some goodies. I have a vintage February page from a Mary Englebright calendar, so it's got this great little image there that you could use for decorating your journal or however you'd like. And then I also included this folded. It can be placed over one of the pages if you'd like. It is an envelope, and it's got a pocket folded in half. It's got a pocket on either side. So instead of putting it over one of the pages, I just put it in this pocket, and then you can use it in the journal wherever you'd like. And then just this little customer claim check. It's actually the bottom half of the alteration tag. So I just stuck it in there in case you want to continue decorating or use this for something. And then just this little 14 with a couple of tickets in there. And then this very last page, I have something that goes in there. And then, of course, my little cuties are made from paper bags that I have sewn on both sides with fabric. They're very sturdy, but they have this very large pocket. So in this pocket, each of the journals is going to have this little floating pocket, and it has a tea bag from me. It's a organic rose tea. It actually is very yummy. And it is a popcorn pocket, or a popcorn bag that will open up. But inside of here, I tucked some extras. There's some offcuts and some extra little Valentines and buttons and extra ephemera. And I just tucked that right in there. And then this will be in this back pocket here. Okay? And the back of the journal is just the fabric there, which I just absolutely love. It's kind of a chunky little journal, but there's still lots of room for journaling and lots of room for you to add your own things. And this is journal number 1 as they are listed in my shop. Okay, so journal number 2 we'll go through more quickly. It's similar, just a few little differences. The little buttons, like a couple of the buttons are different, a couple of the charms are different. It's got a different image on this handmade button shaker card. This is a different Valentine scrapbook paper than is in the other journal. A couple of cute vintage Valentine cards or journal cards, however you want to use them. And of course, those images are different than the ones in journal number 1. Did a little stenciling here. There's a doily pocket with my handmade tag made from an alteration tag in this one. So the little collages that I made are different on each of the tags from journal 1 to journal 2. Same otherwise, the papers are the same. This one I wove a little bit of yarn through the little notebook page there. It also has the page from the 1970s yearbook. It has the little graph paper with the pocket and another little vintage Valentine card there. And it has the same over the page heart. And on this side it's a tuck, and it has a very similar collage using the vintage love postage stamp. And it has also a little decorated paper clip holding it on. And on this side, it's decorated with an inchie, a little piece of art, and it's got a waterfall of writing paper or journaling paper, and this whole thing lifts off, as I showed in journal 1. Okay, it has the same or very similar beads on the end of the signature ties with a pretty silver heart and pink and red and pearl beads. A fold out made from scrapbook paper, and then I did some stenciling in here so it wasn't just stark white, but there's lots of room for journaling there. In here, tucked into here, is an ATC that I made into a journal card, so it's a different pattern than in the other, in journal 1. Really cute. I just kind of tucked these guys over the page there. And then the page from the vintage yearbook, and I covered it again with the dotted Swiss fabric. What I did was I like to cover up names. If there's names in yearbooks, that's usually why you'll see some fabric, because I do tend to cover those up. Okay, and then the little short pages. The same little pocket with the Focus on the Good large journaling paper there. That little side pocket. This has the Mary Englebright blank recipe card and that little doily pocket. In this little around the page tuck spot, there's a little journal card that I made. And then on this back side is a handmade tag. It says all you need is love. It's got a little additional little tag on it. So the tags are a little different in each. Okay. And then in the back, it also has that multi-folded pocket page. And in the back is a page from the Mary Englebright calendar. You'll also find the over the page little envelope with pockets, and in the pocket is a little heart tag there. And you can put this anywhere in the journal. And then the little other half of the alteration tag, the claim check part, and a couple of cute little tickets. And then in this last pocket, you're going to get the same little gift from me. It's got the rose tea. I've got a little paper clip on there to hold that in place. And then inside is the little packet of goodies and offcuts and a little piece of vintage ephemera. And then you can use this as a pocket in the journal. You can kind of use it however you'd like. Okay. All right, so this is journal number 2. It also, since it's the paper bag, has the big pocket in the back. Journal number 2. So these are my Valentine journals for 2026. They're the only 2 that I'll be making. And my next project is going to be Edith Holden style vintage journals with a neutral botanical. I'm going to make a large and a couple of small. So that's going to be kind of a journal series that I'm doing. So that's my next project. Hopefully in 2026, I would love to be able to make some process videos where we can make some things together. I would really enjoy that. And I am hoping that I'll have maybe a little more time to spend with you. And I appreciate everyone who is a subscriber, who follows my journals. I am very grateful if you would be so kind as to leave a like, to subscribe, to leave me a comment, to say hello. I would appreciate it so much. And as always, thank you for taking the time to watch. And if you're looking for more information about these journals, look in the description box below, and I will see you soon with another project. Bye-bye, everybody.